presenter for our transportation class. So let's kick it, learn how to drive a bus, learn how to keep the kids straight, learn how to do and be the best that we can be. So our bus driver presenter.
Bus driver. What about the bus driver? How y'all doing today? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Everybody say, what about the bus driver?
What about the bus driver?
All right. Y'all have PowerPoint presentation in your hand. If you were not privy enough to be in Birmingham, that's the PowerPoint from last year. What you get today is fresh, brand new stuff. Okay? Now, how many people here actually have CDLs and drive school buses? So every year, we got 4 guys in the state. Every year, somebody comes to you and has a class at your school, every location every year, right? And they talk about what? Free bus safety, what else? Free tripping, what else? Railroad crossing. They do that every year, right?
Every year.
So we ain't talking about none of that. Y'all railroad track every day. Y'all preach them every day. Y'all post them every day. It's the law. You gotta do it every day, right? But some things that they don't teach in that class is stuff the other that we need to do for our money. When there and stuff goes down and they go talk to the legislators, they didn't know how many miles we drove with loaded children, how many miles we drove with unloaded miles, in order to talk about how much money we need to compensate for our bus drivers. So I got a handout I'm gonna give Brother Deuce in a minute to pass out about that also. Okay? But today specifically what we're talking about is promotion. Say promotion. I'll read a passage about promotion. And then we're going to roll on in. Y'all know how I teach. It's free. You got a question? Interrupt me at any time about the question. We're going to dig into the question. All right? All right?
All right.
The passage I'm going to read, a man named David wrote. I know this book looks like a Bible, but it's just a regular book, all right? The passage says, for promotion comes neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is just. He puts down one and sets up another. Say promotion.
Promotion.
This right here, is there anybody here who is not in transportation? Well, I got some information for y'all today. Have you ever seen a situation where you are qualified for the open position, and all of a sudden, somebody who does not have your qualifications at all, don't know the system at all, don't have the loyalty of the school board and the school children and the district or the department that you work in, and they come in and some kind of way they use some kind of fine print to put them in on top of you and make them boss you. Is that not into that before?
Yes, exactly.
We don't let that type of stuff happen. The district wouldn't dare how nobody that bought somebody to drive a school bus who can't drive a school bus. Not education. I'm not talking about in the private, I'm talking about in public education. Classes that do it like this, I'm gonna make it real clear. I went to college shortly after high school to a college called Lawson State Community College. And I went there to go get my barber certificate. When you fill out an application for a promotion at work, there's nowhere on there to say barber certificate. They start with, some places don't even use associate. They start with associates, bachelor, masters, and doctor. When I'm supposed to put associate, because I got a barber certificate, I went to law school for 2 years, because they want you to get an associate 2 years, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But that'd be lying because I ain't got no associate, right? But somebody else can come around or has come around, and what I'm doing right now is prophetically warning you of the things that are possibly getting ready to happen or are happening or will happen at your place of employment. Right. And because we are in AEA, the strongest union in the state of Alabama, connected to NEA, the largest union in the nation, you got a voice. chapter will happen. You might not be the one who get the promotion, but you definitely have power to make sure the one who is not qualified get that spot. I went to a class earlier today talking about privatization. And there's some things we can do about privatization. But laws don't want to do it. Get off work. I got to go home and cook French fries for my baby. Your baby cook French fries an hour late, one day a month. But you want to know what's going on in your system, you got to get down to the board. Our president for our local is Paula Barnes. The president for the local on the VA side is Monquille Shepard in Birmingham. But they can't make every board meeting. You might not be all involved, but can you go to a board meeting once a month and bring that information before they get a chance to make a decision and vote? Because after the vote taking place, what can you do? This has been near and dear to my heart for this school year here. So I'm be open and transparent, and it's live because I'm not scared. Got stoked out there, so happy to me. I thought I was saying the wrong thing. I'm good. So, what if the experience, the brand new boss that comes to the place to be in charge to tell you what to do? I already say he ain't got none of your experience, all right? But let me tell you what this experience is. He was the manager of the Waffle House. You said manager like, oh, I didn't know Waffle House had a school system in Birmingham. I mean, Alabama. That's what you're saying, right? Because surely they got to have some kind of educational experience, right? Is I'm hitting home and all that? Is anything I'm saying making sense? So there was a resolution that I wrote, and I asked a lot of y'all support. When a promotion becomes available, that the employees that already work in that district that have the qualification get preferential interview process before they bring in somebody outside. I don't know how y'all school will do that. Our school does like this right here. If you leave another place and come to our system, you don't have to start on step one if you got experience. You can start on whatever step that matches the salary step that you're supposed to be on. But if they gave you that position, and you move from where you work to that position, if the step one of that new position is more than what you make up your current step, they start with step one. Is that fair? Does that make sense? How does that help the morale to stay there and support education? Quick question. Did anybody wake up and says, when they was little, I want to be a teacher so I can be rich? What about, I want to drive a school bus so I can be rich and buy my mama a Ferrari? Anybody say that? I want to be a prepared professional. And I'm going to open up all the business so I can raise my whole neighborhood. Didn't anybody decide to do that? Good ideas. But every last one of y'all in the room became an education because you have a calling to it. Nobody did it to become rich. You have a calling. Maybe you grew up in a neighborhood. I grew up in Wilder, a smaller area in Birmingham. And I was one of the few boys in that neighborhood who had a mother and a father in the home. So I got a chance to see it from the pro side and the con side. Now it took me a while to stand on the pro side because all I was seeing was cons at first. The cons was they would fight over because of the child all the time, fight over the child all the time. So every time Jordan came out with a tennis shoe, they had on Jordan. I would wear Reeboks, pumping it up, K-Swiss, British Knights. When I was able to talk, I would give me them pro wings. I don't know about no pro wings. So, you know about the pro wings? All of that has a lot to do with what we're dealing with now. So I want you to look at my display here. The very first ESP conference I ever went to was in high school. And then with the shirt that we got there. Out of all, I know it. Out of all the ESP shirts, it was the 5 ESP conference shirt they had.
Let's bring it back. Yes, bring it back.
There, you hear the folks speaking? At that time, Sherry Davis Tucker was president of the AEA, and the Shasta Craig was president of the ESP. The next year, we had in Birmingham and Ross Bridge. This one was nice. All I like about this shirt is I hate yellow gray. It made me think about pajamas when I was little, wearing Superman pajamas bad. I hate yellow gray. Shortly after that, we ended up with COVID. So in 2020, if I'm mistaken, I think it was 2020, we didn't have no conference at all. In 2021, we did one on Zoom. And I think Dr. Fossey mailed all these out for the people who signed up for the conference and participated in the conference. And they were watching your clock on that Zoom to make sure you were there. You weren't put on no Zoom and go to sleep. But if you did have participate, you got there. Then the first time I went to Perdido, ESP had that thing, and they did the Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras ball.
Mardi Gras ball. You know, folks out there buying them masks and all that type of stuff. Next year, we did the Kentucky Derby. They ran for the road, and they had a fashion show. Last year, we had that theme song from Beyonce. Our logo is the Birmingham ESP. So every time we come to these conferences, we on purpose wear BESP at the ESP conference. Because Birmingham wants to stand out. We making noise. Y'all heard me. We making noise. This year, Andre got his hella great. But it's $5. Buy the man out. Don't let the man leave these shirts. If you leave these shirts, you're going to bring them back to the next ESP conference next year. Like I'm saying, go buy these shirts out $5. Now, all of them, they were my favorite. This turquoise here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why am I just displaying all this stuff to say ESP? Now, on that gray one right there, even though we are education support professionals, they made their acronym say something else. Every support professional, every special person. I heard a statistic today that ESPs make up 40% of the education workforce. Rewind all the way back to what I'm talking about. Y'all got the power. You got to not be so lazy. We got to get to those boards. We got to figure out what we can do. And when things get bigger than we can do, we got to reach out to our UNICEF for support in those areas. That's what we're talking about. So I don't want anybody to deal with what we had go on here. I got 15 years of transportation. What I do that man? These right here are the routes that I've done just this school. Wow. We got over 100 school bus routes. That ain't no route. We got over 100 school bus routes at that time. I probably know 95 of them by heart. We got a new dispatch lane. What dispatch do it? Keep up with the bus at and tell them the bus what route to take, right? Would it make sense for the dispatch to know what the route looks like? Would it make sense for the dispatch to know how to drive a bus? Yeah. Would it make sense for the dispatch to know if I did this route that Miss Jones is always late for the bus stop? So when Miss Jones called me on this drive, one time the driver ain't there, Miss Jones was the one who was late. Well, if they hire somebody who ain't never drove a bus in that position, every radio call you get, or can you go back around and go pick up Miss Jones? Because they don't understand what's going on. Now, it might be some people who don't want to be promoted, and that's not a negative, that's not a down, whatever you like what you're doing, that's fine. But for the ones who do want to be promoted, the ones who do have people, The ones who have people that they work with that want to be promoted. We can't let this stuff slide. I got a phone call by a friend right before delegate assembly because people was talking about it. And they don't like people talking about nobody. I know they don't like nobody talking about their friend. But today I found out they don't want nobody talking about their mom. And the phone call was asking about some of the resolutions I wrote. And one in particular was the one about making sure that when the promotions open up, that the people that's there that had the experience that applied for the job get first dibs on it. And her question to me was, well, what if they been rolled up? You know what I said? I don't care. I don't care if they rolled up before. Can they do the job? See, what's happening is a lot of school, but I don't think AA feels this way. I know AA don't feel this way. But a lot of school boards have got to the point that people doing this in the private sector, if we bring them over to the public sector, they can do that for us. But what they're missing is, why do people leave the private sector? They got rolled up. They got fired. The job downsized. But of course, they don't put down their resume. They don't put down their resume. So they're going to slide in the way you are. Don't work their way up because they got BMWs and Jaguars and houses too big for just them and their wife or whoever to live in. And now they didn't know what they pay for. So now they move to the school board. And the school board give them the biggest salary. They pay for 15 drivers or 15 teachers to compensate them. And then they'll turn around and say, well, we don't have that in our budget. But they can make the budget say what you want to say, but you got to be at the beginning of the school year to hit our budget here. It means to speak on it. This is an empowerment training. Okay? That's what this is for. This is an empowerment training. To let you know that ESPs have power. And you get to use those powers. Bus drivers have power. And you got to learn to use that power. It don't take nothing but one day a month at those board meetings. Just to know what's going on, to bring that information out, to get people involved. I've been talking for a long time. Do anybody any questions about anything? Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just one thing, totally 100% agree. But before you start getting super powerful, make sure you got tenure.
Great point. Great point.
Get the tenure, use all the power. Read the board manual, read the minutes, read all that, the policy, everything. Use that. But get tenure before you start getting all powerful. Then, hey, say what you want to say the right way it's supposed to be said and do what's supposed to be done.
Great point. That should have been one of my questions. Anybody here has not made tenure? Tenure is you have completed 3 years, and in that school year, you are starting on your 4th year. Is there anybody who has not made tenure? You haven't made tenure yet? How long have you been there now? 2 years? Okay. Okay. Thank you for saying that.
3 years in a day. That day 2, go ahead.
I say at the start of next school year on that 4th year. You hear me? Keep it zip. And if you have made tenure, are you an AR? Anybody know what AR means beside people in Birmingham? AR? Associate representative or a building rep. Meaning if things is going on in that building, you are the ones that they will talk to. But they need to be the maintainers. See, they're trying to trick you into being nice, because you're so sweet and going in with them or whatever. But you ain't maintained yet. That's what you repping right here. Like the kids in kindergarten, that's what you repping. Those are the ones that you go to with what's going on in the building. Okay? And it should be an associate rep in every building or facility that your school operates. Now, at this point right here, our BEA president, Shannon, yes, sir?
Correct everything you said about tenure, but please, I'm sorry, Bobby J. Pierce, Sheriff County retired, just in case y'all know who I am. But everything that you said is correct. But let members know that if you are a member of AEA, whether you have tenure or not, if they want to call you in to talk to you about someone, make sure that you carry that building rep with you, and have them to take notes, so you will know exactly what's going on. Because individuals who are not in this room today, I could go out and say that this another went on in the room, but only way I can prove that if someone was taking notes, and we'll be able to present it to your supervisor or what have you, and all that good stuff.
That's a great point.
And before I stop talking, thank each and every one of you for being a member of the Alabama Education Association.
And Mr. Bobby Chris used the word notes. A legal word for that is a proper word for that is documentation. One thing my superintendent, I'm coming right here. One thing my supervisor used to always say before he became director, and hired people over us who can't drive no bus. Had left the department because they hired somebody over him. And when he left, I was the only one that said, I asked a very, very important question. Now, do y'all love me in this room?
Yes.
So y'all know I ain't saying nothing to hurt nobody, right?
Yes.
But y'all know I speak straight, right?
Right.
So the superintendent was there and the chief of staff was there, and I asked the question. I said, is it Birmingham City Schools policy that every person that's the director of transportation has to get a Caucasian? The superintendent said, no. You know, Birmingham City Schools, my high on race, public relations, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just asking. Because out of 10 years out, he's always been a Caucasian. And I know a guy that started just like you, superintendent. Superintendent started as a substitute teacher, moved to a teacher in the trailer before Birmingham City School had stuff, became a real teacher, then became assistant principal, then became a principal, then worked in the school, and I worked in the central office as a chief of staff, then went back to the high school, our best high school, Ramsey, then became assistant superintendent, then later on became the superintendent of the school. So we got a transportation, we got just like that. Started as bus driver, but became service worker, moved up to dispatch, moved up to coordinator, and when the job got open to hire for the director, and he had been school system do this too. When that job gets empty, they get you to do your job, and the job director over you but pay you one salary until they hire somebody else. You seem like you're the one who got the most experience doing it. So legally, we'll interview the people who go to interview. But I think if your interview went the best, we ought to do that. We ought to get you. Anyway, and when it was time to hire somebody over, he knew exactly what I'm talking about. He said, well, he retired. So I got on good authority that we needed him to come back. We needed him. But he came back and stuff was getting all right, But then I want to say, man, they had to put pressure on the outside because it don't make no sense to have nobody to be in his old position who can't drive no bus. It don't make no sense to have nobody to tell the people, the dispatch, can't drive no bus. I don't think he had no aneurysm or nothing.
Or have a CDA.
That's what I'm saying. That's something happened. So your building reps in the building, then you go to. And as she said earlier, you UniCert director. What we try to do, we try to handle in transportation, we try to handle our business ourselves. If it get too heavy, too sticky, I pull off. I get real hard. I don't be as bold as I am. I get real hard. I say. I have a very humble request. Means that all positive postpone this meeting until we're able to get out of service. He said, yeah, no problem. I said, okay, let's go. I'm trying to keep it going with it. Let's go. He said, when he gonna come? I said, even the other morning, we out there, you know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, man, I couldn't find a misspelled word in the write-up. I couldn't find a wiggle room in there. And anything else I would have did, even though I got to you, would have put me in more fire. So I called the auditor. That's a good play there too. Can we pause this until the UniCert is able to come? You said you had something.
I forgot a couple of things.
A couple things? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll
Go ahead.
speak first. Number one, you ain't wrong. You should always, any UD, gonna tell you. Bro, you just come in and you ask the most polite way you have ever asked for anything to postpone it for your UD if you have no AR. In that, you get called for a meeting for anything, you call your UD, let them know, leave a voicemail, whatever, AR, whatever, get whoever, let somebody else know. Number 3, Alabama is a third-party state, so you take that cell phone, you put it on record, and you set it down, and that other person doesn't have to know you're recording, as long as you are in the room and you know it's recording. That's a third-party state. You can't just leave a listening device in there. That is not legal. But you can have your phone on record. If you can't, then you go, hey, can we wait for our UD as nice as you can? But if that's not a possible thing, then you have that cell phone on record and you record that conversation. But then, I don't care what color you are, as long as you got qualifications, you can get a job. This is not a coming at being a white person. But what are the demographics of Birmingham City? Other than not predominantly people of color, any kind of color, right? Now, not necessarily transportation, the kids don't interact with that, but I'm sure there are times when in transportation people have pain other than their driver to do something or whatever. Okay? Do you not think that these little kids that are growing up need to see a black man in a job that he has worked for and deserves rather than
I need to see it.
Now, I'm not saying now, had he not been qualified, had this other dude been more qualified, had this kid worked his way up, and he was going to take fault for that.
Oh.
I'm a lower middle class, white, middle-aged woman. Like, literally, I get all the crap because I've had a privilege life. I can't see the difference. I don't know what it's like to grow up being a black kid. I'm not black. Never will I be black. I can only love you the way I love you. And hope that's enough. See, my mouth got me in way more trouble than anything. So, I mean, it don't matter what color I am, I'm going to be always in the hot seat.
And see, when I asked if y'all love me, this wasn't a social justice, I think. No, it wasn't a social justice thing. But I need to see that. Because I want to move up. And I need to make sure that I'm not stuck in a dead end job.
Now, their students might not necessarily see you if you go and move up to get that job, they might not know that. But they still got yearbooks, they still got whatever, you're still around, there's still this. And you are a black man and have a good job and have worked your way there. Is that not more beneficial?
I think so.
Especially since you know what's going on.
It must be something over here cute or something.
I know. But let's see where I can't work.
So, Nashasha, you said you had something too, baby.
Yes, in Mobile County, in the job description, you have to have your CDL within 6 months of you being hired.
As a bus driver or as a supervisor?
As a supervisor, but you can't be full-time bus aide unless you have your CDL, and of course you don't get hired unless for bus driver unless you go through the training class and everything.
So at Mobile County, what you're saying, they will hire somebody to supervise who don't have a CDL?
They will hire, but they give them 6 months to get their CDL.
Okay.
Now,
I don't know about y'all. But I think that's a way to stick other people in the pool with us who don't qualify. I don't know how to figure out how to make that thing work, because that's exactly what I was saying it should do. But I promise you, I don't think it said that before that.
I do even have the wherewithal to even have the balls to even apply for a job where you ain't even slightly qualified. Can't even do it, can't even drive today.
That's what I'm confused about.
That's vulgar.
May I tell her?
Oh, it's all nepotism and it's nothing.
Please, Bob.
The reason why people apply for those jobs is because of people who they know, like you said,
Nepotism.
or are family members. Now, back in the day,
You're gonna sit in this office and collect this big check.
back in the day, the same thing like that happened to myself and Pastor Dukes.
Okay.
We applied for jobs and they hired individuals who had never, ever driven the bus before.
Probably never even run a bus.
Yeah. Well, they did, but anyway though, and that is the great thing, about AEA, come on. Because at the time, when that happened to Pastor Dukes and myself, you all know Dr. Joe Reed.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Joe Reed spoke to us at the Delegate Assembly. And you all know what Dr. Joe Reed's motto is. He wakes up every morning looking for somebody to sue. So, when we got overlooked, as a matter of fact, more qualifications, everything. You know, I've been driving a bus for 20 years, plus I was teaching school. I had a traffic safety degree. I taught the driver's ed, the whole 9 yards. Not only did I not get the job, I didn't even get an interview.
Come on! Now you make it too hard for me.
I didn't even get an interview. But thank God for AEA, and there's a lawyer lady in Birmingham named Candace McGowan. And we settled. And all I can say is thank you, Jesus.
Okay. How many Candace McGowan know? Because it ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that we can. I'm coming back to you. I understand that we can do certain things legally or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I'm advocating for right now is to fix that issue. If you were a teacher at this school for 32 years, you national board certified, you ain't just got your master's, you already got your doctorate and all that good stuff. And I come in off the street and I become the crossroad at school. I think teachers would be religious. I think they would have a right to be religious. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that everybody have to work their way from the bottom up. That's not what I'm saying. But Jesus, if I'm going to supervise somebody, I at least ought to have some of that skill set to do. Right? Don't worry about that. Right now, we should have 100 drivers, at least. When I first got there in 2012, 2013, we had 100 school bus drivers regular and 20 more subs. We always carry route coverage. But this shortage of bus drivers ain't just in Birmingham, it's all over the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
Right now, we got them same 100 routes, and we might got 16 bus drivers. And we had somebody who came in and thought they were smart because they studied what was going on. They studied what was going on in Jefferson County. Well, Jefferson County got their coaches driving. Jefferson County got their teachers driving. So they started getting coaches and teachers to drive.
You guys first.
Huh?
He started over with y'all first.
Y'all had it going on. Y'all had it going on before we came up. Y'all were doing that already. He stole that from y'all. Coach was already driving school bus at Johnson.
I'm talking about
The teachers. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He started off with you guys.
Yeah. Well, he couldn't stay long over there with me. He thought he was the Teflon director. But I found something having eggs was sticking on the skillet one day. He had to get him out of there. And boy, thank God. Anyway, but he thought he was going to band-aid that package or the issue he had going on. People leaving because they didn't want to deal with him no more. Who had time to retire. Who were serving, but didn't really have to serve. And didn't want to deal with it no more. So he thought he was going to be able to patch that hole up by getting teachers to come and get their CDLs and start driving.
Now, we have over 350 routes.
Wow.
350 buses, and we started direction.
Take it out. I just cut the moving part off.
Yeah, they are. Well, y'all got that permanent billboard down there when you come in, like bus drivers wanted. We got a bus in every parking lot.
So
We don't drive.
So what I'm saying is we got to figure out a way to fix this thing, because giving people double duties to work ain't the fix. You know what I'm saying? And them wanting us to, the school board wanting us to advertise for them to get more people to mistreat them like we get mistreated. Ain't the fix either. You understand what I'm saying? And to be honest, I mean, some people can make $1 million an hour and still wouldn't be enough to put up with what we talked about last year. To have you on the school bus, which is why I was teaching you how to write them up. Yes, sir.
In your system, when you have to do a double route,
Same pay. Get paid by the hour. We'll get paid by the hour, get paid by the hour. Who got a paper here that says Paula Barnes at the top? One of the rap papers. Who got a paper that says Paula Barnes at the top? Alright, so if you look at Paula Barnes' paper, the red names the school. Okay? She only has one school to drop off at, which is really W.J. Christian. That should be our last run. So in the evening, she should go to W.J. Christian and drop off W.J. Christian, and that should be over with. But because a guy that has a high school has to go cover somebody else's route, now all of a sudden this Paula Barnes has to drive a high school. Sometimes it's the same high school, but every now and then it might be a different high school.
That's how you start getting into dangerous stuff too. Like, not that you can help it, not that anybody can help it, but like, you don't know those kids, but you know when
The
your son
kids,
is
the routes.
If you don't know that stuff, how do you know who goes where and who picks up who? Like, I know every car where my kids get off at, if they get off like this, I have some of me like a
You
parking lot.
too nice. You look at the cars. I go to what the paper say. I open the door. Out.
No, well, I mean, that's like, so like, I have to go meet mom and daddy, and it's over here, and it's like,
Nick, mom, and dad.
well, I mean, like, I just stop at this one like parking lot, you know, it's at the volunteer program with the community center fire department, right? So this is where they pick them up because they're not technically on any route, so they come meet me here. But they have to be there, and they are. But I know Mama got a new car, somebody better tell me, because that ain't my mama. Better get out and talk, because I know what Mama looks like. But I know Mama's car. I know Daddy's car. That's Daddy's car. But I know where my kids are going. But when you have to do stuff like that, you don't know where they're supposed to. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not her fault at all. But like, that's how stuff happens.
Is this elementary kids?
Oh no, mine's like, hey, this is like seniors.
Baby, you better get off my bus.
Hey, 300 feet, yo. Stop.
I still like my kids.
Market press. Open door. Off the bus.
Point of clarification. You said in your system, you guarantee 4 hours a day, right?
Our system guarantees 5 hours a day.
Okay. See, in Shelby County, they don't get paid on a guaranteed 4 or 5 hour day. In Shelby County, they have a set rate what they make, but you're paid by the route. Back when Pastor Dukes and I was driving, if I drove my route and then I had to drive his route, I would sign in for my route and I also sign the paper for his route, and I would get that same daily rate of pay.
Just as like you paid twice. Like you two people.
Like two people. But I understand because the old transportation director at Hoover, he and I used to attend church together, and the deal is whatever they assign you to
Do it because you're on the clock.
within that 4 hours, 5 hours, you got to do it, and you got no more money.
That's it. And see, that's what we deal with them. And the excuses, like I said, I'm that building rep that you would come to.
Okay.
I'm like, hey, so we get paid extra for that. But you can't be on 2 time slots at the same time, Mr. Ishmael. I don't care what you do. You can add it to tomorrow. You can act like it was Sunday. You can make it. I don't care what you do.
We could drive Saturdays, go all day.
But I need the money for it.
Right.
But I haven't figured out the loophole or the hole to make that work.
And here's the next time we write the resolution, we need to think about this, and I
That's what this purpose for is actually making real.
Listen, I've talked about this forever. Okay? Let's just say you drive your route. And the regular bus driver on another route does not drive that day.
Okay.
What type of leave are they going to put on their time card? Sick, personal, or whatever. Now my next question is, he or she is being cut that daily, that hour rate of pay. Yes, ma'am. Where is that money going? They can't tell you that. And this it's a flaw in the system. It's a flaw in the system because right now, once upon a time, if you worked in a school system and your spouse worked in that same school system, you got 2 full benefit packages. Okay? P-HIP, you got a full one, your wife got a full one. But then all of a sudden they got smart, and then they combined them. That's not right. That's not right. Listen to me. And you know, and that's another thing. You know, I'm retired. I can say what I want to.
That's right.
He's just gonna start going through his list on a podcast.
And that's another thing. Because some systems, they will tell you that if you live within 50 miles of a conference, we can't pay you for your travel and for your night in the hotel room. You know what I told them? I said, now if I'm on the board, I get all these rights that I'm supposed to have. And if I can't get the same thing that someone who lives 51 miles away, you're not doing me right. I'm not getting my full benefits.
That's right. That's how you fix it up. Hold up, Mr. Joe. Shout, did you ever get what you had out? It's like you did? Okay. Hold up, Mr. Joe. Going over what you said, we got a new trainer that left us to go over there with you. She said that same exact thing. She said, listen. She said, if it's supposed to be 50 people and there's only 40 people, where is the other 10 people money go? Right. She said, I'm not asking them to pay me the whole 10 people,
Right.
but the one person, right on feeling, pay me the money because where it's at. So those are some good thoughts over there. I don't know how to make it work, but those are good. This is action league, man. We need some resolutions, bro. And I'm the next. I'm coming to you, Joe. The next Jelly assembly I go to, I better see some ESP resolutions on that. I don't care what they say. Put them on there and make them read them. They was up there after midnight this year reading resolutions. Put them on there. Write them up. And get what? Any member of AEA can write a resolution. You ain't got to be tenure for that. Write the resolution. Why don't it make sense? Write it. If it don't make sense, they'll word it right. They'll make it make sense. They read up there. I'm not doing that. Write the resolution. I think the email will be coming out soon when they need to get them in. Write the resolution. I shouldn't have to sit there all day long and listen to 2,000 resolutions from Schamberg and them. I've been hearing some resolutions from my people. Schamberg is our people, but you get what I'm saying. Classified and church classified.
Hey,
write the resolution.
here's the thing, too, though. Before you start writing your resolutions, you got to check with your school board policy and see. I mean, write your resolution, but like.
Even if it don't affect you, if you want it to affect you, but it won't affect your school board, but it'll affect us. Right.
Specifically, if you are like, this is my pet peeve, this is not happening for me, look at your school. I know, but look at your school. But that's what you said. Go to your board meetings because you go through that policy and you read all that stupid crap that's been in there since 1820 or whatever it is that school started, and they started adding stuff to it and adding more stuff to it. You're gonna find out that there's a lot of stuff you can do you don't know about. School policy is available online. If it ain't they got it at the central office, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do for yourself or your local on a board level. But then you go and write your resolution. And so when somebody says, oh, this is just a local level thing, this is something you should take up with your own board of education. I've already done that with mine. I want everybody else to be able to know this and have this done, so this is a thing. You know what I'm saying? A lot less those arguments in that way.
I'm coming with you, Joe. Before AEA came and got the law passed to make sure that the bottom minimum wage pay for educators was $15 or whatever. Before that, I locally worked at the school board, and they paid the lowest ESP, which was the bus drivers, the custodians, and the lunchroom workers. It was the last year that King Abbott gave us 2%, and the board put 10% on top of that 2%. So I understand the local thing, but this ain't no Birmingham City School Board. I mean,
No, I know
this
it's not.
actually, we talking about resolutions. Hold up, I got you.
That helps though there, and then you can say, listen, I have done this, I've worked towards this, and then like, that basis is there too.
Right. Come on, Mr. Joe.
I'll go back to when they were talking about they get paid by the trips, other systems get paid by the hour. But my real question on it is, as me, Bobby, and a few others that's retired, do you know when the state sits down, when they do their report, they says how many drivers there are? The state just sends down the money for that driver. It doesn't say. So since me and him, we don't pay, y'all don't pay our insurance anymore. But they send that money from the state down there. Now, if you want to look for something and find out what the money is, find out what your system do with that money they sent down. Because they're going to send that same money as if I'm a full-time driver. Right? Because all they look at a number. Yeah. If you got 12 drivers, we're going to send you 12 salaries. But they don't say 3 of them, 4 of them retired. So what are they doing with that money? Now, if you want to look into both things, find out what your system is doing with that extra couple of thousands of dollars.
Is it about taking jokes? Because y'all gave me a lot of work, and I hope y'all hear me.
Because see, with that, you could do things within your system. Now, some systems don't pay aides, and the money comes out of that on that. But they don't pay an aide now. So it don't, trust me, one of us paying for 2 aides.
That's right.
Yeah. So where the money going?
Right.
See, those are the things that they don't want to talk about, or you don't want to look into, or they don't want you to scratch the surface on them because they don't tell you. I asked several systems I worked in. What y'all want with that money? Boy, you talking about the shut and drive.
Now, according to the lag class,
because I want to know that we're not stupid because we ESP. We understand stuff. We see things y'all don't think we see. But you got to remember, you're not paying into retirement anymore, and you're not paying into PU. But the state's sending all that money for all of those. And Joe is correct. He's correct. Because
so where does it go?
Yeah, I asked that question too, Joe, because I was a teacher. And also had a full bus ride. So from Montgomery, they send a full package, service package
For the bus.
for the bus and for the teacher. What about the money?
That's how they do. They hustle.
Then y'all also have to remember, like when they give us 2%, the state gives us 2%. They don't fund every position, so the school system has to make up that other money to give everybody a 2% across the board. So they gonna come short. So sometimes, they have to will and deal with different money to move it. Because my position might not get 2%. I feel it's not fair, so they try to make it to where everybody gets 2%, even though when you see it on the news, they say that the state employees get 2%. That doesn't mean every position in the school system is awarded that 2% from the state.
Mr. I sound like a company man.
Well,
we don't want to do
I know because I go to meetings.
Thank you.
And I ask the questions, so that's how
But here's the
I
thing,
know
if they're doing that wheeling and dealing, they should be able to account for where that goes. So they say, okay, well, he should have had 2 packages, and then they took one, like they didn't give him his package. So where did that go? Because if they're having to do, and I'm not bothered, but there should be a paper, like, here's what we did with this. It's not my superintendent getting a 4% raise.
And they probably have it down. It's probably you're not able to see it. So you trust me, the CFO knows where that money is located.
Thank you.
She knows you just not able to see it.
I want to say I served when I was on the board of directors of AEA. myself and a couple of other board members worked on a panel dealing with bus driver salaries. And there's a matrix that the state has that says this is how much, and I'm just using, if you're in Sumter County, there's a matrix that says the State Board of Education is going to send this salary for 25 bus drivers. Okay? Now, that salary could be $19 an hour. I'm just throwing it out. Well, when you go and look at Sumter County's salary schedule for bus drivers, they only pay them $15 an hour. Well, the state is keeping that extra money that's allotted for that bus driver. Now, so how do you handle that? You're doing just what he's saying. We have an organization that's supposed to say, you bring this evidence. So you got to bring this evidence before. This is what's happening. We can get, it's not a raise. This is what the state says that every county should pay. This is the minimum starting salary, okay? That every county should be paying the minimum starting salary of X this. But you choose to say you need a little extra money because y'all system is funding, so I ain't gonna pay my driver or whatever, lunchroom worker, it could be anybody. I'm not gonna give you what the state allots. I'm gonna give a little less so we have this little extra money that we can do whatever we want to do with it. Now, as bus drivers and every system he just said, everything he just said, you tenure, you got your rep, you bring this before your delegate assembly. I'll tell you, delegate assembly is not about, I'm worried about the teachers and hopefully we've gotten beyond.
Yeah.
If somebody want a raise, give them the money. Yeah. Don't ever fight against somebody getting a raise in AEA, in their job skill, because it could be you one day. Exactly. And so we need to understand, but know it's the state matrix is public information. Public information. You can call the state transportation department and say, and I want to know what is the matrix that you all send to X county for their starting bus driver salary.
Let me add. They also send the same amount of money they send for your first year drive to your senior drive. Yep. There's no in between. The state sends you all of that. So your first year drive, your system is getting money as if they are your senior driver. Yeah.
To make sure it's covered.
That's part of another thing to look and see what it does. So when they go, it always bothers me when they say they can't, because in one system I know of before I left, they would do this. If a driver had to do another route, they have this saying, they say, I'm gonna plus you in. Now how they work that, they add that little more money because see, it fell within the 4 hours of what they did. But that was just an incentive for saying thank you for helping me, and did that. That was an inside. How they did the numbers on that, I don't know. They paid on Saturday, Sunday, like you were saying, who knows? I don't know how to do it. Yeah, but they worked it out. But the thing of it is, at the end of the day, they still doing something else. I'm not gonna say it's illegal, it's just not being transparent of what they doing with this money. That if one of us, there's 3 of us that I know of that's retired, what they doing with all the extra money there? And then what they doing with somebody who first, second year driving, well, the state paid you a whole full salary. Now, if you think they won't make no moves, that's why you got what they call the fleet renewal. Years ago, buses. The state had to come in and stop systems from taking that money and using it somewhere else, so the little systems could have newer buses because they would have the same bus for 20 years.
They went up about new bus.
Right. Even though it's not a fully funded thing, but at least if they funded you for 10 buses and your system don't have the money, you can at least get 6 and don't have to pay. Yeah. That's why they did that. That's why I say you have to have the transparency and run through it. Now, you have to do your homework to find out, because I ain't never find out what they did with the money, because I was trying to get you something.
And one other thing, transportation. I'm trying to word this, say it right, but the transportation department is the only department in the school system that does not lose money. That's the only one. based on the fleet renewal, based on the salary that comes through or whatever, it don't lose money. You saying you might got some clarity from Mr. Jones.
Well, in some parts of it, they don't. I guess it's not really funded enough all the way because it's only funded by so much by the state. Because see, when I was at one point I was over the maintenance department of transportation, all that. I stayed in the region.
One of the
I
things
went on the shop side probably so.
And it may just be
Maybe I'm
what
just
they
talking
put
bus
in there.
driver.
Because man, them folks down there, CMOs and all that, they were so happy when the new budget would come out because they could pay them bills that they were robbing somebody else. But they tell me, hold up, and I tell them, well, get your car ready because you're going to take your children to school in your car because I'm going to buy that car.
But
But
you also understand that the
that's
state
a whole
only
different
funds transportation at 80%.
right.
So it's 80% funded, which means the system
That
has to make up
Yeah,
20%. Now, that's tricky. That's something, because it's a statewide thing. Yo, I fought forever when I was fighting for air conditioning on school bus, remember? Okay, they said we could do it, but the state would have to be fully funded to require your system to have to put AC on the school bus. Shelby County does not air condition school buses unless it's special need. They will pre-order specially made buses without AC to save a little extra money. And so we were thinking like this is August and we're in school in August and it's 100 degrees on the school bus. They wouldn't do it. They said fully funded. So we had AAA to go to the legislator and ask to get the buses fully funded. It didn't pass, but it just died down. You need to go back, be worded with a new resolution that we need you all to fully fund transportation from the state level. And if they fully fund it from the state level, then your local is not keeping that little money, that little hidden pockets, because the state is fully funding it. Now you can demand that everything the state funds is sent to where it's supposed to be.
Let me add on that. They didn't tell you the full truth. They have every year they have a meeting or whatever they do specs on buses. If they add that in that spec, so like the stop arm or anything else, they have to fund it fully for air conditioning. They won't do it, even though they've been trying and working on it. But there's I can't think of the specs board or something like that. I can't remember the name of it because I was trying to get on it. But and that's part of the reason because anything that the state requires for a school bus to have for safety or whatever else, they have to fully fund that on the purchase of the bus.
What they
The
don't
system has
fund,
to keep it up.
he said that what they didn't fund was things like your fuel. Your local has to get fuel, which is really high. So certain stuff like that, those locals will have to come up for the funding for the fuel for the buses. And so when they say they don't fund it 80%, so now your superintendent and staff have to come up with those fundings for those. But anything that safety is mandated, that has to be done.
And
but those things like fuel and maintenance on the buses, those are particular things that your local has to do. But they still, if you know where the money is, it's one thing that young man sitting there with that safari hat on. That's one thing he told me when I started. He used to be my teacher when he started. I was in 9th grade when he started on the valley. One thing he told me, don't ever be afraid to ask a man for your money. I don't care if they owe you $5. If they walk by you all the time and won't even acknowledge that they owe you, you ought to be man or woman enough to say, hey, what my $5? Because they owe you, and if they said they're supposed to pay you, ask for your money. Now, don't go in there asking Allen. Be very professional, but ask for your money.
I have something. Also, when you all go and lobby with your legislators, make sure you bring these different issues up and let them know that the problems that we have. When I was NEA director in lobbying in Washington, I would always talk to them about, we have kids on high buses. Is it any way that you all have funding that you can assist us with getting air conditioning on the buses that we don't have. But of course, you know that it's very expensive to put in air conditioning on buses. But those different things, they do not know the problems we have because they're not in our shoes. So you all have to, when you get, like when we go in the lobby for AA Day, you all need to start now writing down different issues that you have and that you want to talk to them about. Because when you get down there, you're not going to remember. So start writing your stuff down now and just letting them know, and have your reason why you need this to happen, how it's affecting you, how it's affecting the kids. Start now writing this stuff down. And you can always get, if you can't make it to AA Day, send them an email. They have access, send them a letter, sit down and write a letter. But if you don't reach out to them, they don't know your struggle. They don't know.
That's true. And when you talk to them about putting an air conditioner on a bus, remind them that your superintendent of education, if he or she has to leave the central office and go to a local school when it's hot, if that car does not have an air conditioner on it, they're not going to drive that car to that school. Okay? Furthermore, if the AC unit at a school building or whatever goes out, they shut that school down. So, you know, so the deal is, and understand something, we are in education, and we are in education for the students. And if we don't want what's best for the students, go to the house.
I'll tell you one thing, when we got AC, and I even told our superintendent, it made such a difference in the behavior of the children. They weren't ill as a hornet on there, you know, you get hot, we all crack.
Right. Right.
Not to mention, I'm kind of getting old now, but the heat affects me pretty bad. And you've got a driver up there that if they're dehydrated or they're overheated, what if we faint behind that wheel because we're so hot we can't breathe? Because we don't have the ventilation that even the students have behind us. They can put all the windows down and feel the breeze. We can't. All the time we get a breeze when we open the door. And so when we got AC, it made such a difference in the children on the bus.
We had a bus driver, he wasn't driving at the time, he got so hot when we got off the bus.
Fainted. Yeah.
We found him on
So
the
it is a
bus.
hazard.
He wasn't quiet. He like went to a self-feeder, you know.
I bet.
And we're like, this is ridiculous. And I drive a special needs bus. But I had never had an air conditioner on my bus till 2001, and it quit. And they never would take it back to where it came from. So again, I had no air conditioning. Next time I got air conditioning, 2019.
I wish I'd have known you back then, because I want to say it's state law for a special need. It is. It's state law. And that even fix it. They'll find the funding for that.
We had a boy who must have died on our bus, and it was Halloween, and they had costumes on it. And we didn't notice he started turning blue. And his head went down, and he was sitting on his mask and everything, but it couldn't come off, we couldn't get anything off. He called the parents here, and they met us at the daycare where we were, and they got the ambulance. He had 104 temperature. The school didn't sue us, the parents didn't sue us, but they said, well, he was sick 2 days before I put him on there, but still, it was 80 degrees that day on Halloween. And that bus would get 3 times hotter than what it was out there. That's how we got that air conditioning.
My question is, why does it matter if it's a special needs bus or regular
It's
bus?
state laws that special ed buses have.
We didn't have,
But why?
Why?
Because state law, it was a
It's
state
because
passed.
we got wheelchairs and they're in all this plastic and rubber back there in the back and there's no air conditioning and they'll come out red-faced and everything. And we have 5-point system seatbelts.
You can't necessarily put the windows down with some of this special needs.
It's a lot of leather.
This is like self-contained special ed or whatever.
Y'all ever what you're saying?
And like,
Y'all missing what you're saying, baby.
you know what, they should all have it, I don't disagree.
Special needs children,
Our children.
regular children,
Oh.
why one get AC and the other one don't get AC? And what I'm saying is, it was state law. Now, we have moved resolution now that it's supposed to be on every school bus, but as we know, it's not on every school bus. And like you also said, if it breaks,
It's still on
if it
there.
breaks, they can legally say it's on there, it just ain't working. I want to ask y'all this though. Let me see the hands of the drivers who do drivers after the buses. All right. Now, on the bus that I drive now, I'm sorry. I drive all these different buses, but on the bus that I was assigned last year, 2024-6, it has AC on it like it's supposed to, but it has AC on the roof, and AC on the back. So when I'm driving, there's no AC blowing me. And I'm one of them kids that when I used to be in the car with mom standing up in the middle of, I can't feel the air, I need to feel the air. Now, Miss Paula bus, Miss Wanda bus has the AC in the roof front, AC in the rear top, and AC on the dash. You all got on the dash yourself?
The new ones do, yeah.
You all got on the dash too. So when they're getting ready to get new school buses, which they do according to fee renewal every year, I want to say.
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years. But some people break that thing down where they can get one every year by only getting a certain amount of it.
Yeah, but it's every 10 years.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when y'all go talking about a new bus, when you asking about a new bus, ask the director, supervisor, whoever it is, we want dash AC as well. Otherwise, the kids will be feeling it, but you ain't feeling nothing. And then when you open that door, when you say, why AC open, you get a little free, when you open that door, the little cold that was in there, it went out the door.
Yeah.
Now you start back up hot again. So say dash. Y'all don't sound like y'all believe it. Say dash. AC. Awesome. Somebody else had a hand.
Oh, it's me. Is your bus aftermarket air conditioning, or was it like in the bus when y'all got it?
Every bus is aftermarket air conditioning.
Okay, well.
But they were already equipped with aftermarket AC when they got to our lot.
Right. Okay. The factories, now they are not great, but when you get one with a factory air, now they have the dash one, but a factory air conditioner on a bus, because I went from Clark County, I drove starting special needs, had the bus, gave that up, got my own big bus, ain't had no air for a bajillion years, got a brand new one with AC in it. I was like, what? It was fantastic. It was like a 10. Right, well then I left there to go here. It didn't have air, they got aftermarket air. Praise the Lord that we got it, but it does not work. But I'm just going to tell you,
That's what happened.
you know them air vents you got in your ceiling or on your floor, you get them little clear visors and stuff, you know, you gotta have everything secured to it. What you do is you get one of them little air vents that goes on your ceiling thing, and you get your friendly little Miss Maintenance man to put screws in there so it's secure, then you got the air blowing straight down in you. And it's legal.
What you pointing at? Okay.
She figured it out.
The state man
That it was okay.
And it make it legal.
She specifically, he's like, long as it's secured to the bus. So guess what? It got secured to the bus.
And your husband mechanic, right? Didn't I meet you? Okay. Mr. Jeffrey.
Yes, sir.
As being the only transportation mechanic in the room, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's leaving now.
Okay.
He's
As being the only working or active transportation mechanic in the room, how many ACs do y'all have go out on y'all here, Judge County?
All the time.
All the time. How much of a priority is fixing?
Well, we only have them on the handicap buses.
So y'all have one of y'all regular buses yet? I'm not coming over there. Go ahead.
But it's with the handicap, it's a very priority.
You hear that, Miss Jewel? On the special needs bus, it's priority because it's always been state.
Well, we had that bus for after 3 months. They quit on us.
you write it up?
Yes, we did. And they kept saying that they're not gonna send it back to the company right now.
Was it a new bus?
It was brand new.
So yeah, when it's a
It's
new
under
bus,
warranty.
when it's a new bus, it's a warranty thing, and they have these little loopholes. If you touch it, then they can avoid the warranty.
Right.
You got some. I'm ready to record it. You got some people that can look and see what's wrong without actually moving stuff around so that the warranty is avoided. Yeah. Okay. I got an option. I can let y'all out 15 minutes early. Or we can keep on going to the time. I enjoy it. Did anybody get anything out of it? Are y'all disappointed we ain't talking about railroad crossings?
I think
y'all
I need to
y'all
go
coming.
to the post-trip
You are?
procedures.
So Nashasta wants to talk about railroad crossings.
Let me tell you my deal with the railroad.
Let me hear your deal with the railroad.
I'm a special needs driver. I'm 33 years. This just happened the first of this year. Pulled up to the railroad and the train was dead still on Claremont. And so we're sitting there. So I get on my phone and I call to tell them I got rode up because I got on my phone on the bus. Sat at the railroad.
You all don't have radio?
Call you on the camera. Y'all got radios?
They don't work out in the country.
We ain't got radio.
Ho!
But you weren't driving, you was sitting.
She was at the railroad.
Sitting there with the brake off, but I was under the stern.
But they called it driving. You just took the class
You
recently.
can't leave Biltmore because then you gotta turn the bus off and stay, and you gotta have your kids supervised.
Hold on. What radios y'all got? Y'all got the one like Dukes and House that's rolled with the core in the bus. Y'all got the handheld radios, and y'all handheld radios don't have signal in certain areas. How long will this take? How long will this was?
This was
First of this year.
You
You
got
say anything to you? Are you the junior rep? Are you the rep that you're with? You the president? You said anything to your university director about it? Call your university director as soon as the class is over with, because there's no reason now. Because see, you can't just decide to cross the railroad track, but once you turn to go somewhere else, because you got to inform this about what you're gonna do. And if they ain't got enough money about radio they can work in the country, what you supposed to do? You need to call your university director today.
You gotta get that radio and hold it in your hand
Because
and right, and do all that stuff, just like you would your cell phone, right?
did you sign the write-up?
It don't matter. It doesn't matter whether
Yeah.
she signed it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. But
Okay.
she could have went to her uniserv and her uniserv could have wrote a letter, and they supposed to attach that letter to your write-up.
And also,
And
they
ask for it
need
to
to get
be
some
taken-
better
and ask for it to
radio,
be
a better
taken.
solution.
Ask for it to be taken out of your
He took the write-up out. Okay, all
In
right.
a situation like that, what if kid got sick and this little handheld deal didn't work?
Same.
Can't call 911 on your cell.
That's my point. That's my point.
you need to notify your uniserv director of a solution
Yeah.
of
Thank you.
what you all need to do
In
going
that
forward
situation.
when that problem happens.
Because if it happened to you then, it will happen to you again. It might happen to somebody else later on. And that's what we action committed here. We action committed. We got. I don't want to get rolled up for trying to call about a radio because my radio call about a railroad track because my radio didn't work. We don't want none of them to get rolled up for that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad y'all even have to get that out. But listen, they can't write you up for stuff like that when they ain't got a solution for it. I mean, they can write you up, but you got a recourse on that. You know what I'm saying? You would call somebody because you got to maintain. But you would call somebody.
What I think happened, there was another car crossing the other side of the track, and I think they probably seen me on the phone, called me in,
But you were sitting
but
still,
I
right?
said, it's still.
But I said, you said you called them, though, right?
Yeah,
You called transportation, right?
after I got in service,
Yeah.
to tell them why I was gonna be so late.
Yeah. But when you got you use your cell phone to call transportation, right?
Were you moving?
No.
That's what I'm saying. If you sit still,
And
you have, y'all have cameras on your bus?
Yes.
Okay, so it didn't matter whether someone called in. They should have been able to go and review your camera and know that you wasn't actually driving.
They said we can't have the phone in our hand.
Okay, well,
So-
you're part of
so-
the
so-
board, you can't have your
So
phone.
in my last research, we had a situation today. And he's married. When he was to be a bus driver. See, they have a research trainer that drove a bus. Remember when we started from the beginning? All right, let me go. All right. So it said his wife called him. So he pulled over. Emergency stop to call his wife. But he said now what he suggests happens is that when you pull over to the emergency stop, he said get up and make the phone call. So when he said, I said, you got off the bus and left Jerry on the bus. He said, no, I did not get off the bus. See, I like to be fast. He said, I got up out of the driver's seat and I stood in the aisle. So now the bus is not moving. You didn't leave kids on the bus alone. You did emergency stop correctly. And you're not in a driver's seat on your cell phone. So that's the solution that he gave.
That's what they were trying to tell me.
But see, they didn't tell you that beforehand. Yes. So I'm glad you got told.
That's not covered in research class.
So they need
it was covered in research in my research.
They need to cover that in orientation with y'all bus drivers, so they'll know that going forward.
The only thing that I researched.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, so the emergency stops. The emergency stop situation. Now, if I'm not in this situation as of yet, however, I know that there are a lot of older people that drive the school bus. They have a situation that they may have to use restroom.
Okay. You asked me how to do that? That's how to do it. I'm being recorded right now live. But I would suggest that this is what I do. We clock in at 2 o'clock. Okay? I come in, I get my radios, my keys. I wait till 2 o'clock, 1:55, whatever it is. I clock in. I talk, blah, 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 based on whichever one of these routes they give me, the time I need to go. And at that time I need to go, I go pay the water bill. Give me picture 13. And then I go. If I make it to the school early enough, I make myself pay a water bill again when I'm at the school.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I try to do what I got to do like that right there. That's what I would do to prepare for it. But if you're in that situation, you got to do what you got to do. You need a resolution. Help me write one, because I don't know. but you're assuming you got to do what you got to do.
Because
You know what I'm
they
saying?
don't have the funding to do AIDS on the bus.
And then call Stokes. Don't you call UD, you call Stokes. You gotta talk.
I have to tell you a story. I was from one of the senior drivers in that school system in Monte Valley. And they were on a field trip, and I got a call once they got to where they were going. And one of the guys was driving was a sub. He shouldn't have been a sub because he wasn't all full together. And he drove the bus. He was the lead driver. You got 4 buses and parents.
Wow.
He pulls over on the interstate.
And ran off.
Locked it down, turned the bus off, opened the door, jumps out of the bus, and run into the woods off the side of the interstate. And everybody, they don't know if the bus on fire. They don't know what's going on. So here in about 30, 40 seconds, he coming out zipping up. And so the supervisor, when he called me, he said, Kenny Dukes, I know you with AA. You better tell us how we're going to handle this one. I said, was he trained? Was he properly trained in how to handle a situation like that? And he says, I'm not sure. I said, well, you got to make sure you're trained. You go and train, and you can write him up based off of whatever policy he violated. Yeah. I said, I wouldn't have did it that way. But at least let the driver behind you know I got a situation. And I like the little boy, I got a situation. So you can get off and do it. So all we have to do is best practices. Make sure you follow policy and procedure. If you do it right, right will win. Yeah. Because we got the best in the world to make sure right wins. That's right. But the key is we have to be right. If we right, they're gonna win.
Every time.
So just the key is making sure you follow that best practice. And ain't nothing wrong, like she was talking about with the phone. They just changed that. They just changed that where you got to get out of the seat. I did it for 30-something years. I know you have to get out of the seat. I just had to be pulled over with the bus secure in a safe area. And if I need to use my phone for whatever emergency reason, I can do it then. Now they're saying do the same thing, but get out of the seat with the bus security and stand beside the seat and make your call. So that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do.
I had a student, oh, sorry. I had a student, of course, at the time I only drove high school boys. I was doing an aviation run, so I didn't have but a handful of them. But I had one that he would come up just desperately begging to go to the bathroom. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't stop. He said, but Miss Seeley, I'm fixing to be sick. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. Even if it's me, I can't stop this bus. It's a liability issue. You know, something could happen while you were in the store or whatever. And, oh my gosh, I almost wish I'd just went in and risked it all because he used my trash can and I didn't know. I thought he meant he was going to throw up. He didn't. And, you know, but the first time, because it happened the first day it happened, I felt so bad because he messed his clothes up and everything. It was humiliating. And I went to my supervisors. What can be done? You're talking teenagers and the humility and the embarrassment from that. And he said, there's nothing we can do. He said, you cannot stop that bus for nothing other than the deliberate stops, you know. And so, yeah, and so a couple of days later it happened again, and that's when he took my trash can, and I thought he was going to get sick throwing up. And you know, I noticed the other boys hanging their head out the window, but anyway, I made him have to take the trash can away. But, you know, I think his parents finally took him to the doctor and got him taken care of. But you know, I was like, thank God they were in the back of the bus. I was in the front. We didn't have AC at the time. But I mean, it does happen, and I wish there was a solution where maybe if there was an aide on the bus, you know, you might get escort them. I don't even know if you legally could do that. But you know, like so a lot of like us, my route's 2 hours long.
Keep in mind, the state doesn't cover.
Right, and so right, and so I mean.
That sounds like something we need to work on as well. Ms. Barnes?
We just had a situation this week, actually yesterday, where a kid came on the bus with a gun, a BB gun. The kid had it all day at school and brought on the bus, and the children were hollering, "He has a gun! He has a gun!" Well, the bus driver was frantic, did everything correctly, and asked the kid to give the gun to him. He wouldn't, and we were just so afraid that this would have been tragic, because if he had shot the gun, it would have been really bad. So we need to really work on safety of bus drivers also, as well as students. We can work on a resolution for it. I'm just putting this out there to see if anyone has an idea of something that we could do or where we can move forward with this, because it's starting and we've been worried about somebody actually coming on the bus with a gun.
I had a kid that got on with like those belts that's got the bullets. I don't know what it's called, but you know, he had this strap, and I noticed it, but it was kind of clanking and it didn't really sound real. But I was in a panic because this child had an IEP that if he's confronted, he becomes violent.
Right.
And I was like, I was freaking out because I was like, this is not something that we are trained in, how to de-escalate this kind of situation. And I talked to my director, and I was like, look, we need more training. We're in a different world now that, you know, we got all this mental disease going on, you know, and anyway, he wound up getting suspended even though it wasn't real, but the other children on the bus were freaking out. As soon as they got off the bus, they immediately went and reported this boy had bullets. Well, had he had a clear backpack, because then I got to panicking, like, what if there had been the gun to go with that in the backpack? We don't know what they're getting on our buses with in these backpacks. You know, so maybe clear backpacks, you know, if he mandated for that.
Well, we have clear backpacks.
So we don't, and so we have no idea what these kids have on when they get on our bus.
In situations like that, you're not, you know, we did a safety thing. We had a gentleman that was shot and killed. Well, shot, the driving person got on the bus, took the kid. So, Chuck, now, you know, when they took him off and had the kid, this is the situation that your code, your system should have an emergency code or word. you would pick up your phone, your bus, whatever, and you would just hit it and you would say that word. And when you say that word, that dispatcher should be trained enough to come in and ask location. You're trying to stay as calm as possible. And you say the code, they find out they're going to be dispatching police and school people.
Right?
Yeah. And school people everybody's coming to you. But if you maintain that level of composure, and if a person has a gun, do whatever they say.
Yeah.
If you want to ride to the post office, we're going to the post office. Don't debate with them. And, I'd ask them. I'd say, calm down, wherever you want to go. You got a free ride today. And we're going to go there, and we're going to whatever until help comes. And when help comes, we're going to let them that are trained in that make the best decision. But it is chaotic because there are people being shot and killed every day for doing what they normally do. But if your system does not have an emergency code, talk to your transportation supervisor when y'all have y'all in service, y'all start back school. Then make sure that they have these policies developed. That's what your local board should be putting together. And they should say, we need this for our bus drivers. We need safety protocols. What are your safety protocols? And would you consider adding this to your safety protocols? Common sense stuff, because you do it every day. More than likely, they're going to work and make sure that's developed a process, and they're going to get that information, because you're not asking that. But when it comes down to the clear backpacks and the uniforms and all that, they're going to say, don't worry about it, just drive the bus. Yeah. And that's frustration. So, do the things that you can for the basic situation, because there are some things, and most is the little stuff, that you're not going to get happen, and you get frustrated because it seems like it's the easiest thing to do. But, pace yourself and understand who you're dealing with. You're dealing with people that don't drive a school bus. Further they get away from the kid, the more money they make. So don't stress that out. You can't
say that again.
That's true. The further you get away from them, you make them more money. Superintendent make more money than everybody. Yeah. They don't have to even see a child every day if they don't want to. So you focus on, I'm doing this, I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm going to make sure if there's a policy that can make my job easier, I'm going to be that person to help get that policy moved. And you can do it. It's not that difficult. They rather you help get that policy moved than that situation go in a worst case scenario. And they never had a system. And when the news media and everybody come in and say, well, what was your emergency system? How was that driver supposed to do it? And the school system sit over there and numb, because they don't have an answer. And then when they try to blame the bus driver, you can say, oh no, they never trained us, they never told us what to do or anything. I did the best I could do in that situation. They don't like bad publicity. So they're going to do whatever they can to make sure they don't get that bad publicity. And I promise you, the news reporters are looking for everything to find fault for somebody, instead of for the parent or whoever that was responsible for that child's pregnant.
There's always a bus driver fault. That's what they like to say. Listen, now, possession of a firearm is a code 3.09 in our system. And possession of weapons is a code 3.10 in our system. Now, I gave it to y'all last year too, but this is where the bus write-up look. Okay? They got a lot of information on there, but not enough for specific things that these kids are doing. So I, on purpose, took the write-up that the school used inside the school and Xerox it on the back and made sure the dispatchers had that. So when they ask them copies, they're supposed to give them a front and back copy. Now, on the part I just read you about the 3.09, 3.10, these are abbreviated subjects about what happens on this, what it is. But inside the actual code of conduct, BB guns, water guns, anything that's shaped like a gun is the same type of offense. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes y'all so nice, like you're looking for cars to drop them off at, that y'all let the child slide. And every time you let the child slide, that child slides closer to what really, really being dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? So proceed on the side of caution. Mr. Joe, and then my time up.
I was going to spin back on the beginning of what you were saying. I can't spin back to this. When you said that they would hire people who don't do what you already do. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what I'm saying? When you hire them, you don't have anybody that has the ideas that you have. write the resolution, do what we need to do. Because you don't want somebody to come up with something that they have no idea how it really works anyway. So I just want to say, go ahead and step up and write the resolution. Or when it comes to training on how you want this done, don't say safety words like Mr. Duke saying that most systems do have. It needs to come from you all. It don't need to come from somebody that hired to work at Waffle House, like you said. I was going to give you that little spin at the end. But that's something that everybody needs to look at as what was all said, that we need to be more active and make it happen, because it's your job online. I ain't getting on the motion because I retired from that. I'm not going. They try every week. They call me Montgomery County to get me to come. I'm not coming. I do some other stuff, but that's not going to be it. But if you're there, you know how things change and what it does. So go ahead. Don't let that person from Walmart or Family Dollar or Waffle House get those positions that have no idea of what it really takes to run. But I just wanted to get that.
I appreciate that. We got to close right now. I told you in the hallway, we got to close right now. Right, listen to me, y'all. I'm gonna start to close the ears and close the eyes. If y'all don't have no resolutions ready for delegate assent from ESPs, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Tell them if you need help, they can contact you. Give me your
And if you want a professional resolution letter, you got one right that name is Shasta Park.
Y'all give it there, give me a hand. You all get an evaluation form, make